The diplomatic vessel descended through the amber atmosphere of Valoria Prime, its hull gleaming under the light of twin suns. Captain Marcus Webb stood at the viewport, watching the sprawling alien city grow larger below. Spires of crystalline architecture stretched toward the sky, connected by gossamer bridges that seemed to defy physics. After 3 months of travel through uncharted space, humanity's first official contact with the Valorian Confederation was finally at hand. "Approaching landing coordinates," announced Lieutenant Hayes from the navigation console. "Their traffic control is guiding us in." Marcus adjusted his formal uniform, checking his reflection in the polished wall panel. Behind him, the diplomatic team prepared themselves. Ambassador Patricia Rollins reviewed her notes one final time, while the cultural liaison, Dr. Emma Cross, fidgeted with her translation device. "Remember," Emma said, addressing the team, "we know very little about Valorian customs. Their transmissions have been friendly, but we must be prepared for cultural differences. Stay observant and follow my lead if anything seems unusual." The ship settled onto a landing platform with barely a tremor. Through the viewport, Marcus could see a delegation waiting. The Valorians were humanoid in shape, though their skin held an iridescent quality that shifted between shades of blue and violet. What struck him most was their clothing. The males wore simple tunics and trousers, but the females were dressed in elaborate flowing garments that resembled formal gowns, adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to move. "They're certainly dressed for the occasion," Patricia observed. The airlock cycled open, and Marcus led his team down the ramp. The Valorian air was warm and carried a faint scent of something floral. The alien delegation approached, and Marcus found himself face to face with what appeared to be their leader, a tall male with silver markings along his temples. "Welcome, humans, to Valoria Prime," the alien said, his words flowing through the translation device with only a slight delay. "I am High Chancellor Davin. We have anticipated this meeting with great joy." Marcus extended his hand, relieved when Davin grasped it in what seemed to be a universal gesture. "The honor is ours, Chancellor. Humanity is grateful for your hospitality. Please, allow me to introduce our greeting council," Davin said, gesturing to the 5 females standing behind him. They stepped forward in unison, their gowns rippling like liquid fabric. What happened next would be discussed in diplomatic circles for generations to come. The first female, who introduced herself as Council Member Lyra, approached Ambassador Rollins with a warm smile. Then, without warning or preamble, she grasped the hem of her elaborate gown and lifted it completely over her head in one smooth motion. Emma gasped. Marcus felt his jaw drop. The entire human delegation froze. Beneath the gown, Lyra wore what appeared to be a complex arrangement of ceremonial armor, intricately crafted from the same iridescent material as her skin. Geometric patterns covered every surface, and small crystals embedded in the armor caught the sunlight, creating cascading rainbows. She held the pose for exactly 3 seconds, then lowered her gown back into place, her expression serene and official. "I greet you with the honor of House Lyra," she said formally. Before anyone could react, the second council member approached Dr. Cross and repeated the gesture. More armor, different patterns equally elaborate. Then the third approached Hayes. Marcus felt heat rising to his face, unsure whether to look away or maintain diplomatic composure. He glanced at Chancellor Davin, who watched the proceedings with evident pride and no trace of concern. The fourth council member approached Marcus himself. She was younger than the others, her skin a deeper shade of violet. She met his eyes, smiled gently, and then lifted her gown. The armor beneath was decorated with what looked like military honors, medals and insignias worked into the metallic surface. Marcus managed a stiff nod, trying to project calm professionalism while his mind raced. When all 5 greetings were complete, Chancellor Davin spread his arms wide. The greeting of armor is our highest honor, reserved only for the most esteemed guests. Our females wear the ceremonial gowns over their ancestral armor, and by revealing what lies beneath, they demonstrate complete trust and transparency. Nothing is hidden from honored friends. Emma recovered first, her training as a cultural liaison kicking in. Chancellor, we are deeply honored by this gesture. It is beautiful and meaningful. Her voice remained steady despite the color in her cheeks. Patricia cleared her throat. Forgive our surprise. We have much to learn about your customs. Of course, Davin said, seeming genuinely pleased by their reaction. Come, there is much to discuss and celebrate. A delegation moved toward the main building, and Marcus found himself walking beside Council Member Lyra. She had replaced her gown and now moved with fluid grace, as if the previous moment had been entirely unremarkable. Your armor is magnificent, Marcus ventured, searching for something appropriate to say. Thank you, Captain, Lyra replied. It has been passed down through my family for 17 generations. Each woman adds her own markings upon achieving adulthood. The patterns tell the story of our house, our victories, our wisdom. So the armor is always worn? Even beneath the gowns? Always, Lyra confirmed. From the day of our maturity ceremony until death. It is both protection and identity. The gowns are merely the public face, beautiful but secondary. What matters is what lies beneath. As they entered the grand hall, Marcus began to understand. In Valorian culture, the armor was the true self, the authentic identity. The gowns were decorative, temporary, changeable. By showing the armor, the females were offering a glimpse of their deepest selves, their lineage and achievements. It was intimate in a way that had nothing to do with human concepts of modesty. Over the following hours, as negotiations began and cultural exchanges unfolded, the human delegation learned more. Valorian males had their own tradition involving the revelation of ancestral weapons. Children wore simple clothes until their maturity ceremonies, when they received their armor or weapons. The entire social structure revolved around these hereditary artifacts and the honor of displaying them. On our world, Emma explained during a break in discussions, revealing what is beneath clothing has very different connotations. It is considered intimate, private, sometimes inappropriate in formal settings. Chancellor Davin listened with interest. Fascinating. So humans hide their true selves beneath their garments? What do you reveal when you wish to honor someone? We use words, Patricia said. Speeches, declarations, written documents. We shake hands, embrace, exchange gifts. But nothing that shows your authentic self? Asked Lyra. Marcus considered this. We try to show our authentic selves through our actions, our choices, our character over time. How patient you must be, Lyra said with admiration. Our way is more immediate, but perhaps less tested. The cultural exchange continued for days. The humans learned to anticipate the greeting of armor and receive it with appropriate reverence. They discovered that refusing the greeting would be a grave insult, suggesting the Valorians were not worthy of trust. They learned the intricate meanings of different armor patterns, the significance of various metals and stones, the stories encoded in each design. In return, the Valorians were fascinated by human customs. They attended a formal dinner where the humans wore their dress uniforms, and Davin remarked on how the medals and insignias served a similar purpose to Valorian armor, displaying achievement and identity. Perhaps we are not so different, he mused. We simply wear our stories in different ways. On the final day of the visit, the human delegation prepared to depart. The greeting council assembled once more, but this time, Ambassador Rollins had a surprise. She stepped forward and removed her formal jacket, revealing the simple shirt beneath. We have no armor to show you, she said, but I offer this gesture in the spirit of your tradition. Beneath our formal clothes, we are simply ourselves. We hope that speaks to our sincerity. One by one, the diplomatic team removed their jackets. It was a small thing, barely comparable to the Valorian tradition, but the aliens responded with evident emotion. Lyra placed her hand over her heart, a gesture the humans had learned signified deep respect. "You honor us by adapting to our ways," she said. "True friendship requires such bridges." As the ship lifted off, Marcus watched Valoria Prime shrink below them. In the debriefing room, the team gathered to compile their reports. "Well," Hayes said with a slight grin, "that was certainly the most unusual first contact in human history." "But successful," Patricia added. "We established genuine rapport, signed preliminary trade agreements, and laid groundwork for cultural exchange programs." Emma was already drafting protocols for future diplomatic missions to Valoria. "We need to prepare other delegations for the greeting of armor. It must be understood in context, not through a human cultural lens." Marcus nodded, thinking of Lyra and her 17-generation armor, each mark telling a story of a woman who had worn it before. The Valorians had taught humanity something valuable, that there were countless ways to show trust, to honor others, to reveal the truth of who you are. "In their own way," he said quietly, "they were showing us the most important thing, not what they looked like beneath their clo."